My friends, the great experiment.
Prodigy.
Prodigy. Hidden. Trick.
Would you look at that?
The greatest trick.
And you people, you're all astronauts on some kind of Star Trek.
The greatest trick.
Welcome to Greatest Trek. It's a new Star Trek podcast by the makers of The Greatest Generation. I'm Ben Harrison.
I'm Adam Pranica. Someone fucking confused us on Reddit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I still don't understand how that works. We introduce ourselves with our own voices at the top of every episode. And the commenter was like, yeah, Ben's talking about this band called Beverly Crusher and the show that he went to and the shirt that he's wearing. I thought we were pretty clear on who's wearing the shirts and who's going to shows and so forth.
I don't know, man. Don't you think just like every degular white guy voice ultimately kind of sounds the same?
Do you think the identity of the podcast voices in the shows that you enjoy, the shows that you use for your mental health utility week after week, do you think it even matters who we are? As long as we do the thing that's expected?
I think that at a certain point, every comedy duo, to the extent that we are a comedy duo, falls into, there's sort of characters that you play, right? Like, oh, I got sick again? Like, let me lean into that a little bit.
What's wrong with Ben this time?
That's part of my character on the show, is always sick guy. And, oh, I had concert tickets and decided not to go because, come on, give me a fucking break. What am I going to go do? Look for parking? Is your character and something you lean into a little bit.
What?
I'm just saying, like, I think that people should be able to associate our voices with the things that we're known for.
There is nothing embellished about my buying of tickets and then not going to shows. Just like, to my knowledge, there's nothing embellished about the frequency of your illnesses.
It's not that my illnesses are being juiced for their frequency. It's just that I'm more likely to talk about it because at this point,
that's your lane.
Yeah, exactly.
I see. I get it now.
And I'm very unlikely to talk about a concert I bought tickets to and didn't go to because I wouldn't buy tickets to a concert in the first place.
Yeah, that's true. The shows that you listen to, I feel like, are ones that you've listened to for a very long time.
For the most part, yeah.
When was the last time you started a new show? And does it take you a long time to, like, know the identity of the speakers when they're speaking, for example?
I had an experience recently where a show I used to listen to a long time ago suddenly came back, and I was like, oh, what a delight, they're back after years and years of not being a show anymore. And within the first 5 minutes, they said, like, enough politically toxic bullshit that I just noped right back out of it. And I was like, well, maybe it was fine that came and went.
I mean, as soon as anyone says the TOX part of not all masculinity is tox, like, you're already out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. To me, that's the true toxicity, you know?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I mean, we also have done meet and greets after shows or before shows where people are like, oh man, it's really tripping me out to see which voice comes out of which face because I always assumed the opposite, you know?
That's a trip.
Yeah.
That's a real trip. I don't think I've started a new subscription to a podcast in a long time. I think the ones that are in my rotation, sometimes they're seasonal because many of them are sports related.
Sure.
But I'm not often doing the thing that I'm encouraging FODs to do, which is like encourage someone to start a new show like ours, which is great. I don't know. What was the last show I started? Maybe Pen Pals?
Yeah, I think that like the thing about being on this side of the creation of show equation inherently changes the way you relate to other shows of a similar kind, and you shouldn't feel bad about that. That's not like...
It's like that old saying, like, as soon as you listen to a show as a host, it changes the show you're listening to. Isn't that it's like some scientific theory?
Yeah.
Isn't that how that goes?
Yeah, Pranica's uncertainty theorem.
Yeah. That's it.
I like that people still get us confused. I think we should lean into it. Like, I think we should try and like loop each other's dialogue next time we do a social media video and just not comment on it. You know, like have Rob edit it together and then each re-record the other person's part for the video just to fuck with everyone.
I'm going to be in big trouble if I start going around as you, Ben. I don't want that kind of heat.
People are going to be like, what the fuck? Adam audibly laughed at something that Ben said.
Impossible. I mean, that's the Shatner in Star Trek 6 check. Like if it's me and a Chameloid.
Right.
And I'm trying to tell you to shoot her, you idiot. All I got to do is somehow not laugh as hard as I can. Got to choke it down.
Must have been your lifelong ambition.
And then the other one gets shot.
Right. Yeah. The correct one, hopefully.
You go to record the next episode with the Chameloid. And Chameloid Adam, like, very generous with the laughter, kind of off-putting, kind of a thing you wish wasn't the case. Like, it's something you wanted for so long, Ben, and now that you have it, it's like,
yeah,
man.
It feels too easy now.
It kind of breaks the flow, right? Because I'm saying something funny. I don't want to stop for laughter and applause. I want to keep it rolling.
Yeah.
This is the gift I give you.
It just weirds me out that you've got those piercing orange eyes and you're smoking that backwoods blunt.
If you were a Chameloid, what shape would you take primarily?
Ooh.
On Earth? Like, I got to constrain this to, like, walking around Benjamin R. Harrison, you can't choose you either. Like when you leave the house, you get to become something.
I can shift shape into whatever I want.
Yeah.
I mean, dog seems pretty fun. Get to meet a lot of dogs, probably.
It does sound fun.
If I'm a Chameloid, could I shift shape into someone walking a dog? Could I be both the dog, the leash, and the person holding the leash?
I'm going to do you one better, man. If you're a dog and you go to take a shit, are you taking human shit out of your Chameloid body? Or no. I mean, you take a Chameloid shit. So does Chameloid shit come out of dog butthole?
I think it must.
Or does Chameloid become shit?
Right. I mean, like, doesn't they, like, scan? I mean, I don't know if we consider this canon, but that Section 31 movie, didn't they scan the Sam Richardson character and go like, oh, that's a guy, and not realize it was a Chameloid? So if you're changing on the molecular level, I feel like what you produce out of the end of your alimentary canal is going to change on a molecular level as well.
I'm going to become what I hate the most, and this just makes me want to blow my fucking brains out. I don't think that movie's canon. Not to me.
Wow, not your Star Trek?
God.
I feel dirty.
You know what? You do a Star Trek podcast long enough.
Yeah. You see yourself become the villain.
Yep. This is the moment.
I watched it 3 times because we watched it for this show and then again for Flophouse, and I watched it twice for this show. And I don't know if this is like, Stockholm Syndrome or something, but there are moments about that movie that I think back on fondly now.
I mean, here's another thing I never thought I'd say. I guess I'll trust your judgment on that.
No, you don't have to.
I love Michelle Yeoh so much. Not even that was enough for me.
Yeah. I like the lady that they cast to play her younger self, too.
Yeah.
She was good.
Yeah.
Anyways, Ascension Part 2. What do you say we talk about good Star Trek?
Oh, yeah. Can't wait, Ben. Let's get into it. Prodigy, Season 2, Episode 16. Ascension, Part 2.
You know the greatest danger facing us is an irrational fear of the unknown.
On my mark, go fast.
Get a shot of an empty chair at the beginning of this episode.
I love all the chair compositions we get in this episode. Very suggestive, very poignant.
This one, Janeway climbs back into, pulls herself up off the floor, and this is Admiral Janeway, not hologram Janeway. 2 Janeways in this episode again.
I don't think this move has happened very often across all of Star Trek. And when it does, I think it's really important when it happens. A captain out of the chair, pulling themselves back up into it.
Sure.
That's big.
That's almost as big as falling into chair upon the news of the untimely death of your son.
Right.
Klingon bastard.
Yeah, I mean, missing the chair, that's tough. That hits different. Thrown from the chair via banger.
Yeah.
Different from that.
We learn from Tyssis that Voyager A is dead in the water. No systems are working.
Hey, I'm trying to go to warp here. Commander Tyssis is like, we got a no warper. No warper on the ship. What are you going to do about it, Commander Tyssis?
Commander Tysini. His antennas are going together like two fingers, like, hey, we're not going to warp here.
We not to be able to breathe. We not to go to a warper. No weapon system.
Life support that is a failing. There is a swarm of incoming drones. That fucking ship that Asencia sent out, just packed with drones. I mean, it's very big.
These things, they really add up.
Maybe it's got a ship printer in there too, you know? Maybe it has an unlimited number of drones.
You gotta assume that, given its size. It's got all sorts of rooms doing all sorts of things. And, I mean, all we've seen inside is Asencia and deathnok. Dreadnok?
Dreadnok, yeah. Extra Cables edition Dreadnok.
Gotta tell you, deathnok sounds like an early 80s horror film. You know? You can see the box art now. Like, don't open the door for deathnok.
Rated R.
Should deathnok be like a heavy metal t-shirt that we sell in podshop.biz?
Yes. I think we should. And here's the thing, like when you wear a deathnok shirt around, like the hardest core metal heads are like, oh yeah, you're into deathnok, huh?
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, I saw them in Norway one time. Fucking sick, dude.
The most popular metal band in Italy is deathnok. Hey, you listen to a deathnok? Me too.
The imagery is so grim. It's like tortellini full of blood and horror.
Making me confront my mistakes in my own life when I listen to the music.
My mama so sad when I put the dark makeup around my eyes and go to the deathnok show, but she doesn't understand my teenage angst.
Here's the design. Like deathnok in metal font.
Yeah.
But then like two ripe tomatoes, like Roma tomatoes connected with the green stem. Like the good, when you go to a grocery store and you get tomatoes, like you get the best possible ones and they always have the stem connecting them.
The Vine-Ripened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like my metal Vine-Ripened. It's so sad that way. So sad yet so sweet. That's
the text on the back of the shirt.
Yeah.
And then it's attributed as a quote to Commander Tyssis. Anyways, over in the Nova Squadron fighter planes, they've also gotten knocked out because of the explosion of the of all those torpedoes, and pretty quickly, Maj'El figures out a software fix to reroute power and get engines back, which she's able to shoot over to Dal and the other guy. Do we know the other guy's name?
Oh no. Zeph? No. Who is that guy? Zeph.
Zeph.
My name is Zeph. Zeph. My homie said you're like the Nova Squad Wolverine. Now I'm mixing that reference all up.
Yeah. You know that the Nova Squad Wolverine is showing up at the deathnok show.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, hey, Maj'El, why don't you transmit that computer hack over to the other two main ships, the hero ships. You think that would be useful? Maybe not, I guess.
You know, it's a proud culture, and Commander Tyssis is like, I don't need your software fix. I'll fix it myself.
I come from a long line of doers and fixers.
If I can't get my own Vespa going, how am I gonna look at my mama in the face?
One of the things that this episode specifically does so well, and I think in some seasons of Star Trek Picard, a ship under attack in the distance, that sound that it makes of distant phaser fire, it's done so well. It's composed so good here because when Chakotay is looking at the view screen and seeing this, the Voyager A is trying to swat all these drones off of it with like 30 phaser beams at once. Like the Dopplering of that sound is like sickening and bad.
Yeah. I was thinking all through this episode how remarkable it is to have two hero ships in a Star Trek show. Like the fact that we are at home on both of these bridges and we get to see the action from those two perspectives over and over again is so cool.
We've wanted this for so long.
Yeah.
I feel like we've had this conversation many times about how much we craved this.
And it's really understandable when Gwen is like, hey, like, I know that we've been ordered to keep our distance, but we got to fight back. And Hologram Janeway's like, yeah, let's countermand Admiral Janeway's orders and do that. And Chakotay's like,
Sounds great.
okay, I think you guys are right.
They kind of weigh the odds here in an interesting way because Chakotay is like, big picture guy. I'd love to drive Protostar into battle and start kicking some ass, but like, if we lose Protostar, Gwen's dead.
Right.
And so that's not good, right? And also the timeline is fucked up too.
Right.
And Gwen, in response, is like, it's a long shot, but sometimes the long shot comes in. And also, it's my life. They're like, she's pretty cavalier about this.
We cut back to the Voyager A, and they're talking about the way Asencia has ordered deathnok to attack them, and it's like a cat toying with a maimed mouse, basically.
We're just going to go with deathnok from now on, huh? This is great.
Well, for this one in particular, fuck yeah.
All we do is turn mistakes into bits.
No matter what.
It's the greatest Trek brand promise.
Do you think we could make like that artwork that comes on a pizza box, like enjoy your tasty moments, whatever that box is, and instead of the Italian caricatures, it's Commander Tyssis.
with
with
instead
like,
of the hand up, it's the antennas. And he's got a chef's hat or no chef's hat.
I think he can wear the chef's hat just behind the antenna.
Pushed back like a yarmulke. I like it. I think it's good.
All right.
No answer coming in from their distress calls to Starfleet. So Janeway orders the 6 bay evacuated, and we suddenly realize that there are families aboard Voyager A.
Yeah.
It is not unlike the D in that way.
Interesting, huh?
Interesting choice.
Many of the folks in 6 bay look out their windows to see the view of oncoming death. And there goes Protostar zooming by, strafing and taking a bunch of the drones out.
Yeah. Very exciting moment. You think this mother and her baby are about to buy the farm.
How about this strategy of like taking the tractor beam and kind of gathering the drones together in order to shoot them? Great strategy.
Great strategy. Really fun. Like nothing we've ever seen before, I don't think.
Yeah.
I also liked that Murph says pew every time he pushes the pew pew button.
What's great about that strategy is I don't think it borrows from another science fiction franchise. It feels very lived in Star Trek. Like, yes, we use the tractor beam just in this different, more strategic way.
They talk a little bit about how the drones seem to anticipate some of the stuff that they're doing, and the tractor beam is a way to get around that. Janeway radios up to Chakotay, and it's like, hey, thank you for doing the opposite of what I asked you to do. That really helped us out a ton.
Personally, I was very surprised because through experience, you've been more of a cuck. I've been ordering you to keep your distance from me for many decades. And yet this is the time that you countermand that order? Color me very surprised, Chakotay.
Usually you're in that one weird spare chair in the hotel room snapping pencils.
This moment gives Janeway some resolve, and she starts ordering her crew to battle stations.
Yeah.
Even though, as we know from moments before, those stations are unpowered.
Okay, maybe I'll let Maj'El send me the software update.
That is also what my headcanon did. Like, there has to be something for them to do, right?
Yeah. You just throw rocks out of the shuttle bays or something. We cut over to, I guess, Solemn Prime or something, where Asencia is, and she is taunting Wesley.
Oh my God, you just blew my mind, man.
Whoa! What?
She's not on that ship?
No way, man. She's watching the whole thing from a TV screen.
How did I not get this? I thought that was the main viewer from the ship.
No, because the deathnok is looking at the main viewer.
Ugh. I swear I pay attention. You
Yeah.
know I do, right, Ben?
Yeah. Well, here was another clue. Spoiler alert. At the end of the episode when the ship explodes and then she's still alive talking to Wesley after that.
Here's my explanation of that. It was some sort of hologram or some sort of time dilation.
Yeah, they are playing with space, time, and thought in a way that we don't fully understand. And in a way that he's warning Asencia that she doesn't fully understand.
I was more willing to blame space, time, and thought for my inattention than even give it the chance of that happening.
I have to say, like, I don't want to jump to his defense or anything, but I kind of get why Aaron Waltke hasn't been picking up the phone when we've called him.
Because all my questions are too dumb and obvious?
We're sorry.
Yeah, I wouldn't pick up for me either.
She has some button that she can hit to, like, force him to look into the future. And she sees a vision of the Voyager A blowing up big.
Hey, Ben.
Yeah.
You think the device that Wesley Crusher's hooked up to is a time milker? Just milking that neck. What do you think the hickeys look like underneath that neck chain thing that he's wearing? He's not going to be able to go home to his girlfriend after this.
No, you think one hickey is hard to explain away.
I know.
How about an entire clip show device worth? It's, you know what it is? Utter relationship destruction.
It absolutely is, Ben. I love that you put it that way. I also wonder if you're in a relationship with Wesley Crusher, you sort of have rules. Like, if we get into an argument, you're not going to turn back time on me, are you? And then, like, have the perfect rebuttal for my points. We have to decide right now that that's not going to be happening.
Yeah. If I get the slightest inkling.
You got to raw dog the arguments with me.
Yeah.
Every time.
We're fluid bonded and temporally bonded.
Yeah.
We're raw dogging it two ways.
Yeah.
So, yeah, upon seeing this vision of the Voyager exploding.
Great explosion, too, right?
Really good starship explosion.
It does that thing that we saw in the distance earlier where, like, its proximity to the camera makes the explosion sound a little deadened.
Yeah.
Like you're hearing it through a wall in a way that just makes it sound even grosser.
Right, or from, like, over a hill or whatever.
Yeah, it's great. Like, whoever comes up with the soundscape for those moments, great work.
Yeah, so she orders deathnok to launch the Incursor, and this is a golden spinny guy that launches out of the great big starship toward Voyager. And because Voyager hasn't downloaded their software patch, all they have to try and get out of the path of this thing are thrusters, and they just aren't cutting it.
Yeah, that's not going to do it. I mean, you have a moment to think about what the Incursor is going to look like. Big golden spike thrown like a javelin. Not one of my top 5 guesses. I was very surprised by this.
Yeah, I was thinking like mouse pointer maybe, you know?
Yeah. When the Protostar tries to intervene here, it's caught in a tractor beam, so no intervening for Protostar.
Man, tractor beam turnabout is fair play, I guess.
When this thing hits, it is like a terrible sliver. Like if you walk across an unsanded deck, you get like a super sliver in your foot. And because your foot is that thick meat, it can take it, right? Like it's a big honker.
Right.
This thing is stabbed into the part of the hull right behind the deflector dish. And we get another take of Starship Destruction in Star Trek that is just like the best / worst thing to see is a ship listing and the lights flickering and the Dopplering of the alert klaxon.
Yeah. And like seeing it come in from the inside is really rough. Kind of reminded me of that episode of DS9 where Quark and that weapons dealer guy are stuck in the mess hall on the Defiant, and there's like an unexploded photon torpedo poking through the bulkhead.
Yeah. There's not a moment where Commander Tyssis turns to Janeway and goes, "You've killed us all." Which is the most recent moment I thought of when I saw this moment, like a ship effectively sinking.
Totally.
And everyone on board dying.
Yeah. So in sickbay, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
And Dr. Tusk are talking about, like, weird that we're not all dead, actually. Maybe this thing was a dud.
Yeah.
That's maybe good, right?
What is up with that?
Well, Tyssis and the Binars and some red shirts go down to the shuttle bay where this thing has penetrated the hull. They're looking at it.
Great job with scale here. It's like walking into an REI and seeing the climbing wall. Like whoa. People actually do that?
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
In a store?
Do you have to be a member of the co-op to use the climbing wall, or is that just a free thing for anyone to come in?
I love getting the yearly rebate to use on future purchases.
It seems strange for a co-op to also be a union-busting corporation that put amicus in for using federal land to mine for oil and whatnot. But, who gives a shit?
The pitons are too expensive.
I go for a cheaper piton. If it turns into a cliffhanger thing, who gives a shit?
I turn into the tomato sauce at the bottom of the cliff. This thing sounds like it's counting down. Like the universal sound for counting down.
Yeah.
That's what you hear from this thing in this scene.
And you also see fewer and fewer symbols on the little readouts.
Yep.
Which I love a bomb that puts its readouts on the outside for maximum horrific experience by its victims.
This is a sensitive bomb. This is a bomb with its heart on its sleeve.
It really is.
It's letting you know exactly how it's feeling.
It's not holding back. It's bearing all. It's being vulnerable.
It's got emo bangs.
Yeah, let's just say deathnok is a little too rough for this bomb.
Yeah. Can you believe, just to hit pause on it, all of this has happened in 5 minutes. I found the pace of this episode just breathless.
Yeah, it was a lot. Definitely 10 pounds episode in a 5-pound bag.
Yeah.
We get this slow motion blast wave where Commander Tyssis heroically sacrifices himself to save a lieutenant who gets wharfed under some cargo. He gets engulfed in the blast wave, which is kind of moving in slow motion. And she then saves him by pulling him out of it. And he sort of looks like the Picard fingers that reached for that one pair that one time.
Yeah. He's blue and shriveled.
Yeah.
It's as if he's aged decades and decades. And what we learn is this is temporal radiation that he's been exposed to, making this a kind of time bomb, huh?
Sure is. So Janeway up on the bridge orders level 10 containment fields, and they seem to...
Hey, Janeway! Why didn't you put up those containment fields as soon as the sliver went into your foot? What are you doing?
Yeah, if you had them, why not use them?
Exactly.
They do seem to work at like holding the sphere back from expanding any further. Chakotay FaceTimes her and she kind of explains what's going on with this weapon, that they've like temporarily stopped its expansion, but this is not a fix that's going to last that long. Anyways, thank you for your heroics, but we now go to our deaths.
I love the moment in this FaceTime call where she's like, "Oh, Jellicoe's on the other line. I've got to switch over." And Chakotay's like, "God, this always fucking happens. There's always like some other dude calling when we're trying to have a thing."
he signs off and snaps a pencil.
Yeah.
And we get the FaceTime with Jellicoe where he's like, hey, would love to help Janeway. It sounds like you're really in a pickle, but what with the Romulan evacuation going on, like there's just no way help is coming anytime soon.
If what you want to do is spread what little labor you have over the maximum amount of stuff to fix, you should maybe switch your shift rotations a little bit for coverage. That's what I would recommend.
You know, in many ways, you hear it said that like great film directors are often kind of making the same movie over and over again. Like they have something that they're trying to say in many different ways, and I think Jellicoe is no different.
Yeah.
As a commander, he's got kind of one message that he's trying to get across through his leadership style, no matter which level of the organization he is at.
I don't want to talk about it. Get it done.
Can't help but like the old codger. He's a straight shooter.
We need to score a lot of laps fast.
Licensed businessmen.
This ship and her history will shortly become the care of another crew. They will continue the voyages we have begun.
The greatest trick.
In Sickbay, they're talking about Commander Tyssis, and Mark is like, oh man, like it's so weird. He's dying, but it's not of like anything in particular. It's just old age. Well, I can fix that.
Have you noticed how more opinionated he's become too? Like, you don't have to say everything that's on your mind, Tyssis.
Right, and like people kind of hand wave it away like he's set in his ways, and it's like okay that he says some of this stuff, but it's never been okay.
The ship is another story. The ship is also aging prematurely because of this chronometric blast. And it's turned entire compartments that were sparkling and tight into loose, rusty trash.
Yeah. Sagging in places you never want to sag.
Yeah.
And they're talking about like nobody could go in there and last long enough to fix this.
People don't talk about the next hair growth in weird places that happens in old age.
Right. Like there's almost another puberty that
There
affects
is.
starships and commanders.
There's old puberty or poldberty.
Mark heroically suggests that probably the hollow emitters are out, so there's no way he could go.
I love this from him so much. He's like, God, the best idea of all that involves me being the hero, unfortunately impossible. God, I wish I could save the day.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so frustrating.
If only someone else here had a body that we'd already sort of EOL'd and weren't that hopeful for.
That's the best pivot, too. He's like, not only am I scientifically removed from being able to save the day, I mean, let's just talk about the other person in the room. That is actually a perfect fit for this problem.
So that's Zero, and they hobble out of the room, having done almost no work to convince Dr. Tusk and Dr. Mark that this is a good idea.
They don't even have to show a scene from a Steve Zahn movie. Like, Zero gets it. Naturally.
Mark radios the good news to Janeway. We've got a plan.
And I don't think Zero even figured out that we encouraged it. Zero thinks that they came up with this themselves. That's the best part.
Yeah.
Out in space with the Nova Squad, they now represent the best defense of the Protostar. But as they engage with the drones, it's clear that these drones are anticipating and adapting to just every single move that they do. And even though they don't stand much of a chance, the idea that Nova Squad has is just to buy time.
Yeah.
That's useful.
That's the only thing that's useful.
So they're going to continue drawing the drones fire.
They all sort of agree that this is probably a suicide run at this point. Like, they don't really have a chance of winning here.
No one thinks of Independence Daying this other ship, though.
Yeah, like...
At any point, neither the Nova Squad ships nor either of the hero ships, that's not on the table.
Don't you feel like if they fired up that proto drive and just went right for it? Oh, but they need the Protostar, right?
They do,
They need to
yeah.
stash it.
Yeah.
Only the Voyager could probably do it.
The Protostar is the Dr. Mark of this scenario. God, I wish I could. Gotta preserve the timeline.
It's too bad I'm so critical to this other facet of the mission.
Yeah. That's going to be painful for whoever has to do it.
So Zero radios up to Jankom and is like, hey, I know we have only had the briefest of conversations about you maybe being in charge of making my new golem. I'm going to need you to get it on that right away. And Jankom's like, I'm pretty busy trying to keep the shields up over here. And Zero's like, nope, more important.
If Jankom Pog had to make this on Gwyn's home planet, would it be a solemn golem?
And if it, not intentionally, but just in kind of the way the front of it was shaped, had sort of a sad, demure aspect to it, would it be a solemn golem?
Yes.
And if somebody was asking, how do I refer to that, you could say, call him solemn golem.
I like that a lot. Solemn Golem opens for deathnok on the bill, I think.
Yeah. Emo and Cursor shows up for the opening act and then leaves.
I'm actually more of a fan of the Solemn Golem. I go home early before the headliner.
Maj'El and the Novas are now fighting these drones, but all of their Starfleet tactics are too predictable to the drones, as though the drones know everything that they're going to do.
This is straight out of Guinan's speech to Riker, right? In order to defeat them, you got to throw away the book.
Yeah.
And right now, you got to sit in that chair, etc.
Mm-hmm.
This is that.
Right. Don't do the things that they know you're going to do.
Don't try to be a predictable pilot. Just be a pilot.
Let the drones smash into each other.
Yeah.
Rhetorical nonsense.
Zero goes through the force field and immediately starts to wither and die on their way to the Incursor. I was like, oh man, Zero's going to crumple and turn to dust on the floor before they even get to this fucking thing.
How many Kanes do you think have ever been depicted on Star Trek?
Oh man.
I can think of 3.
Let's see. What is there one in Inner Light?
Oh shit. I forgot about Inner Light Kane. I was thinking of the lady scientist from Deep Space Nine.
Oh yeah.
There's this one. And then Snake Kane from Time Travel to San Francisco episode.
Snake Kane. Good call. Yeah.
But my point is, I think you see this fairly rarely.
Mm-hmm. Fairly rarely.
In Star Trek.
Can you think of any other Kanes in Star Trek? Use the hashtag TrekSnack in honor of Snake Kane and let us know.
Looking forward to that.
So yeah, we get to the Protostar bridge where Gwyn is like, hey, did anybody notice that Jankom has left and is not helping us do this desperate action anymore? And also, why are the vehicle replicator robot arms kicking into high gear, draining critical power that we need to defend ourselves?
I thought Gwyn could have been more irritated by 80% here. She is so fucking cool about something that should be absolutely blowing her stack right now.
He has directly put Zero's life ahead of hers.
Yeah. Power to defend the ship, I would argue, more of a goal in this exact moment than building Zero another body. I'm sorry. Zero can still live non-corporeally.
You're setting up a body for Zero to walk into a room in later and not drive everyone out of their mind, right?
Let's put the body on layaway.
Yeah.
We'll deal with the body later.
See if we're eligible for affirm payments or whatever.
Yeah. So Zero needs direction to defuse this bomb. Zero takes off a panel and they're like, Rock Talk, I don't know what to do because I'm old.
There's so many wires, I don't know which one to cut. And Rock Talk talks them through it a little bit. Cut out to the fighters where they're getting hammered, and this is when they come up with the wackadoo flying technique idea.
Yeah.
Zero gives everyone bad news that this thing can't be turned off. It can only be retargeted, and the only valid targets it will accept are other Starfleet vessels. And this is when Maj'El says, "Lock it onto me, and I'll kamikaze it into the enemy ship." So this is sort of the Independence Day solution, right? Like, it's sort of pitched as that. Like, Maj'El will guide it in, sacrificing herself for the needs of the many or whatever.
Good call. That ties that together. You could say that while Nova Squadron is doing wackadoo moves, there's one character on the show whose jacking practices are exactly the opposite. A whack-a-don't will be Zero's future as their body continues to deteriorate, right? Because Zero ain't going to be whacking it anymore.
Yeah, I know. I got you.
I just wanted to sell it with a funny voice, too. Maybe that would help.
The greatest trek
Is yet to come.
So we get like a little like throwback audio of Zero talking about what an amazing experience it's been to have this body as they do the final beeps and boops on the device. And
how about Zero like going out on the 1MC? Just to let everyone know, everyone on the ship, my mission has been a failure. There's no chance of defusing.
Yeah. But they're all family to Zero.
Yeah.
And they hit that button, and the incursor backs its way out of the Voyager A.
This is normally the sort of thing you'd want to like press on the outside of the hull. Like, you don't want to press on the sliver itself. That's just going to jam it in there harder.
Well, yeah, and you hear like...
You want to lever it. Like, give me a lever and a thing to lever by, and I'll get your sliver out. Like, that's what Chakotay says, right? That's how you get the weapon out of your hull.
Yeah, I think that's Archimedes Derp that said that.
Yeah, Archimedes sliver. This is what I'm trying to apply here.
Yeah, so yeah, the Fires are going to do their Boothby supernova move, and this was another moment where I really loved seeing this from the perspective of the Protostar's bridge, among a few other shots that we get.
Would it be too on the nose to call this Boothby's replanting? Because we're taking this thing out of one pot, putting it into another. Just that ship over there.
Let's just say Boothby has spread his seed.
Boothby taught me everything I know about assembly lining those bitches.
You know, leaving Beverly in the lurch after our dalliance behind the waterfall was really something that I can attribute to Boothby more than anyone.
You know who has great experience with waterfalls? Me in my academy years when dorm dame after dorm dame would pee on me. Yes, that old Boothby taught me everything I know sexually.
Is it any wonder that the tender of the grounds, someone who works with sprinklers and hoses, would be into water sports? Anyways, RSVP the bad guy ship.
How about that?
Big explosion.
How about the way this thing blows?
Yeah.
And just to call back a previous dumbness, the moment I thought that Asencia was dead, and Wesley too, probably.
Yeah. No, they're fine.
Yeah, they're good. They're good.
I mean, Wesley's like been better, but he's alive.
Aside from the hickeys.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, his relationship is dead. He just doesn't know it yet.
Yeah.
But, he's probably dating like a girl with lobster hands. So, like, easy come, easy go. Do you think all the travelers have lobster hands but Wesley, or is it just that one guy?
It's got to be awkward at their social gatherings, to be othered like that.
Sure. Oh, wait, isn't, what's-her-face from Star Trek Picard a traveler now? The one that was like a twin? Didn't he like recruit her at the end?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did. That's when he says that super dorky thing to her.
I am a traveler of all of space and time.
Yeah. Is that his girlfriend is what I'm saying.
I think that's his girlfriend now. Hey, Wesley, is that the only way you can get a girlfriend? Like, that's the equivalent of, like, driving a cool car in high school. Like, hey, you want to travel through all of space and time?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's got a Hemi.
In my BMW 2002?
Yeah. How about that? Get in.
That's a lot.
You have no idea.
Nice reunion on the Voyager A. Nice words on Dal's skills as a pilot from the Nova Squadron crew.
It's really end of Top Gun vibes here, but I could not enjoy it. I was like, I just saw Zero die.
Yeah.
Why is no one asking about Zero? That's because Zero gets a great entrance here.
Yeah.
What's weird about the shuttle bay here is that there's like a staircase and an area up top that you can't see.
Yeah.
And then the music starts playing. And then you see like some robotic feet come down the stairs.
Right. And then you're seeing like all of the characters look up and the kind of stars in their eyes as they realize like they're beautiful.
Yeah. Zero is going to be so angry when they realize that they're just a bet. Between Jankom Pog and Chaos Smurf would be the other person betting, probably, right?
Yeah. The Chaos Smurf is like not worried at all when Zero flies off the handle about being a bet.
You could do anything to Chaos Smurf and not hurt him.
People have feelings, man.
Maj'El asks Zero, how do you feel? Weird to hear that question coming from a Vulcan.
How about that? Yeah.
Maj'El clearly took like some non-Vulcan sensitivity training.
Let me put it to you this way, Maj'El. Definitely back to wackadoo, to put it in terms you might understand.
Oh my.
Janeway comes in and does an admiral speech about the power of teamwork, gives everyone a pat on the back and talks about how despite this victory, there's still a lot of work to be done because now Solum and the Federation are on a path to war, and Voyager and Protostar have been retasked to go directly to Solum and try and stop all that.
Do you think a lot of the cars on Gwen's home planet have a license plate frame that says, I'm not sad, I'm just solemn? Sort of in the I'm not laughing at you, I'm laughing at Bob and Buzz in the morning or whatever. Like that kind of typeface.
Right. Yeah. It's a sad planet. A dour planet.
Janeway and Chakotay kind of go off to the side here. Like after Janeway makes her speech, Chakotay's like, that was fairly optimistic. And Janeway's like, don't believe it. I was putting on a brave face. We're fucked.
I'm going to show that planet who's solemn.
Yeah, for real. Cut over to Asencia, who is alive.
Whoa!
And who has got to be pissed. Because this whole vision of the future she saw when she asked Wesley what was going to happen when she fired the giant space sliver, that didn't end up happening. And that's because Wesley Crusher came up with an imaginary future and flushed it down his neck holes. Yeah. And on the other side, it was taken for action.
A lie?
A choice.
So she lost this battle, but has a pretty critical piece of intel that she was able to glean from this experience, which is that when the chips were down and Voyager and Protostar were in absolutely dire straits and were begging Starfleet for help, Starfleet had nobody to send to help them. So she knows about Starfleet being spread too thin, and that is knowledge she can use to her advantage.
If you were a part of a fleet that was spread too thin, and your Jellicoe told you, days away, buddy, sorry, would you ever consider going toward them with your two ships? Because we could turn that 2 days into 1 day, and all of a sudden that's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Doesn't that sound better, to have some fleet with you?
I think time is of the essence because they got those super speed domes on Solum making more bad guy ships, right?
Time is of the essence, but also, do you also feel like time doesn't matter in a weird way.
Yeah.
Time travel.
I was thinking about the temporal Cold War as I was watching this episode and going like, well, is the temporal Cold War ever over? Because like it could happen in any time period, technically.
Yeah.
Like, is this the temporal Cold War or is it ain't? And it like bothered me to think about that because like, I guess I don't know. And it makes me feel too stupid about time travel.
Stupid in a different way from my stupid, which was like, God, he really didn't get that? Yours is more complex and interesting. Mine is just fucking dumb. Just uncut dumb.
This is my fucking way. This is how I win.
Did you like this episode, Ben?
She'll always bring it home.
I liked this episode pretty good. I thought it was a fun action set piece. You're right to say it was really bracing. Like there was so much happening, and I like how this show can just cut to the chase when an idea happens. Like you're just in it doing it. And yet like I found it easy to follow in a way that, you know, sometimes like those really fast-paced Discovery episodes can be a little hard to follow what's going on at times. Like I think they do a really good job of having it be up-tempo and exciting in a way that is still like really cohesive on this show.
Yeah.
How about you?
I think some of the starship battles that we saw in this episode represent maybe some of the best we've ever seen in Star Trek.
Yeah.
It made me think of the first J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie, like in the very beginning of that one, how the weapon systems were of such a variety. The destruction was so great.
Yeah.
The stakes were so high.
Yeah.
Loved it. Loved it quite a bit. Great job all around on this episode. And maybe more than anything, total mystery about where we're going to go next in terms of what's going to happen.
Totally.
It feels like it could be anything.
It really does. Well, do you want to see if there's anything in our Priority 1 inbox?
It could be anything, Ben.
Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
Priority 1 message here of a personal nature. It's from Guy English. Goes to Ben, Adam, and all of Canada. And I assume from that construction, Guy is including us in Canada. Like, it's us and all of Canada, of which we are a subset.
Even Newfoundland?
Let's not get carried away.
All right.
Occurs to me that I can buy a recurring segment on a smash hit Star Trek show. So here's some Con, a segment unbidden and sprung upon our hosts, much like Khan on SETI Alpha 5.
This is SETI Alpha 5!
A segment celebrating Canadian contributions to Star Trek. James Doohan. That Scott was as Canadian as they come. Lost his finger to friendly fire. Not the rink. I didn't know it was friendly fire that lost him that finger. I knew it was a military wound. His finger was a casualty.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about the definition of casualties, which is news to me, as we all know, not necessarily meaning death, could just mean the loss of a finger. In this case, James Doohan's finger being a casualty of Wawa.
Yeah. How did they come up with that as the term? Because it sounds more like someone's capacity to be extremely chill, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you know what the thing about Ben is? The longer you hang out with him, the more you need to get on his level of casualty, you know?
Yeah. And that's not a reference to how I'm often sick or injured. It's a different thing.
Yeah. Hold up all of your fingers, Ben. Let's make sure. There they are. There's all 9.
Yeah. That is all 9. Hey, Rob, don't do that thing where you edit one of my fingers out.
I think the FODs would enjoy that just a whole bunch.
It's a ring finger on right hand that Doohan is missing, right?
I'm closing my eyes to think about it because I know this has been on screen before when he's like putting an arm around a person.
Yeah. They do a really good job of making it not a thing that has attention called to it, but we've seen it a couple of times.
Tell you what, man, you get your ring finger, your left hand blown off. That's just a coincidence right there, baby. There's no finger to wear the ring on. I want to, I swear.
I wish I could. Listen, Strange New World Season 3 coming up. I think that the implication at the end of the last season was that Scotty was going to be kind of a character going forward.
Yeah.
I don't know much about the actor that they cast as Scotty. Did they cast for finger accuracy?
And is it illegal if you did? Because that seems like a physical ability thing that might be a squishy area when it comes to the hiring of folks.
Sure, but, casting, you get special dispensation, You're not like, it's not like covered by the same thing like equal employment opportunity regulations is.
Boy, I hope not. Otherwise, we're going to have a difficult conversation with Rob.
Yeah, we're casting for Uhura, and we have to consider white people.
Yes.
Because that's the rules.
It's new Star Trek. We're doing weird stuff that people don't even expect.
Yeah. Can't even cast white people as Uhura because of woke these days.
I know. It's a real shame.
Yeah. Well, I'm all for the segment, Guy English. I know that our Canadian friends have made great and innumerable contributions to the canon. I mean, it's where most Star Trek is manufactured these days.
When you say Canadian friends, is that like they may or may not be real?
There's a silent girl in front of that.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yes. And can't wait to get back to the Great White North.
Mm-hmm.
Like half of our Toronto show audience is usually people that are like on the crews of these shows.
And a quarter of those missing fingers, as I recall.
And the other quarter making out in the balcony.
Yeah, that is a hell of a pie chart there.
If you'd like to get a Priority One message on the show, it's MaximumFun.org/Jumbotron. We'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, because they help us make the show.
They do.
Damn it. Hey, Ben.
Ooh, what's that, Adam?
Did you find yourself a bonus phrase? Bonus phrase. Bonus breaks. Bonus breaks. I went as long as my lung capacity. Good lung capacity by you, man. I can see someone's been holding their breath.
I got to give it to Jankom for sort of, like in the time-honored tradition of Spock getting up out of his seat wordlessly and leaving the bridge.
Yep.
Like no time to explain, really. Like, I think you can say, gotta go make Zero a body. Later, guys. And run out of the room. And that doesn't really cost you anything, time-wise.
Man, that was my exact same one. Like, you get to leave your station and go rogue when you're Spock. Or Data, or something. Right. Like a no time to talk, gotta save the universe moment. Jankom Pog doesn't get one of those.
No.
Jankom Pog doesn't have one of those, does he?
I believe that Jankom Pog believes he has one of those.
Yeah, he's got that energy. He's got leave your station confidence, for sure.
He's got Ritter confidence.
Yeah, unearned. He did not have that available, and he did it anyway. And also, what we don't see is him doing that in front of everyone, right? Like, were he in someone's peripheral vision,
right?
I think you notice, don't you?
It would seem that way.
Hey, here's a question. If you're Chakotay, moreover, if you're any starship captain and you're in the center seat, the big seat, and you've got the horseshoe that goes behind you and in front of you and all around, you need a rearview mirror, don't you?
Oh.
You got to be able to see the stations behind, and you don't.
Go down to like the bike shop and get one of those ones that you can put on the handlebars.
Or one of those ones like you put at the end of your driveway to see if there are people coming down the street or whatever that you don't want to hit.
Yeah. I fucking need one of those, man.
You and me both.
so hard to see out of my driveway.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
It's a miracle we haven't hit people every day.
Yeah. And every time I'm pulling down the driveway and my wife is in the passenger seat.
And you got to go full speed.
You got to.
Yeah.
Everybody has to go full speed. The people on the street should be going 30, 40 miles an hour, even though there's a stop sign 15 feet away.
They're not going to stop if you nudge yourself out there, but they'll stop if you're going 40 miles an hour out of a driveway. One way or another.
My wife, I've never seen her more stressed out than every single time we pull out of the driveway and she's in the passenger seat and I'm in the driver's seat.
That makes leaving the house fun, right?
Oh, it's just delightful. And then it's like a fight every time. Like it makes it so much harder for me to be calm and collected and keep my eyes on the road when you are having a full-blown panic attack next to me. And she's like, I can't control when I have a panic attack. And we just rinse and repeat every single time.
Hey, here's a technology I want to propose to you because this is what's been happening in our household. Our driveway's so narrow that only the driver can get into our vehicle, and then the driver drives out basically into the street for the passenger to get in.
This is the mistake we made. We widened our driveway.
Here's what you do. You get the passenger to not even be involved in that situation. You're already in the street by the time they get in.
They could go down and give the all clear, you know?
They could be helping you. But like so many other things, we don't get any help.
We do get help from the friends of DeSoto who leave warning bois on the internet, recommending this show to others out of the kindness of their hearts.
Prepare a buoy and launch it when ready.
Warning buoys.
An emergency buoy.
A warning buoy.
Today, I want to share a warning bois from Blue Sky. This is from Captain Lesotho at captainlesotho.bsky.social, who posted a POV of her can of beer in a West Hot American Summer beer koozie with the text, "What a day! Need a shower beer with a nerdy koozie."
I feel you there, Captain Lesotho.
Yeah, Captain Lesotho, one of the great hangs.
Yeah.
I hope the Dith and Captain Lesotho come back to STLV this year. I think we're going to be there.
Can't wait to roll craps with both of them.
Yeah.
I read they put in the fun NBA Jam craps table at the Rio and across the street at the Palms.
Okay.
So I'm definitely hoping to post myself up there as often as possible with, hopefully with a bunch of our craps rolling FODs, and they know what they are.
If you step up to that table, does your head get super big?
He's on fire! Warming up! Yeah, me and Defested, just like rolling craps, enormous heads.
Dr. Star Trek rolls up with a Roman diet and takes a sip, and the cup gets super big when it hits his lips.
So good.
Oh, man.
That's going to feel like a reunion. That's going to be great.
Is the purple zebra gone forever?
I was in Vegas like a month or two ago, and like there's one by Caesars.
Yeah.
And there's another one across the street on the Strip. But it's the hoof is the thing I think in question. Like the company exists.
Yeah, but they're not sourcing hoof anymore.
The hoof part seems to not be a priority for them.
That's like the selling point for me is the hoof.
It's the name of your business. The zebra. Bring it back.
Gotta get the fucking hoof back.
It's not called purple football, like the other form factor of slushy drink you can get there.
Yeah.
Or purple Vuvuzela. It's like the other, like the 2 yards of blender cocktail.
Yeah. Get the fucking hoof back, you fucking hacks. Anyways, thank you to Captain Lesotho for sharing a love of the show right there on Maine for everyone to see. And if you leave a nice 5-star review in a podcast app or post on social media about the show, you might hear your words coming out of our mouths on the Warning Bois segment.
Wouldn't that be great?
Be nice. We got to thank Wynde Priddy, our producer, who will now tell you a little bit about what's coming up next week. My Greatest Trek. Thanks so much for listening. Bye-bye.
Greatest Trek is an Uxbridge Shimoda podcast on the Maximum Fun Network. It's hosted by Ben Harrison and Adam Pranica, and it's produced and edited by Wynde Priddy. Ben and Adam will be back next week with a review of Star Trek Prodigy Season 2, Episode 17. It's called Brink. As war looms between the Federation and Solum, Gwyn proposes to lead the cadets on an undercover mission to gather intelligence and rescue Iltharan. Thanks so much to all the members who make a small monthly contribution to help support this show. Members get a new bonus episode every month, as well as access to the entire back catalog of bonus content. It's quick to set up a membership at MaximumFun.org/join, and we really appreciate your support. Thank you to Nick Dittmore, who created the show art, and Adam Ragusia, who composed the theme music. Thanks to Rob Adler and Bill Tilley for their work on the @Greatest Trek social media pages. You can find those accounts and give them a follow, and be sure to use the hashtag #GreatestTrek when you post about the show. We're also on YouTube, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and you can find all the fun merch at podshop.biz. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week on Greatest Trek.
Maximum Fun,
a worker-owned network
of artist-owned shows,
supported directly by you.